Hey y'all, I'm Hope. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm putting together my January TBR. I'm pretty excited because, for one thing, it's almost a new year, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I'm going to be reading in the new year and how my reading is going to be next year. But I like putting together my TBR in advance so that I have a kind of narrowed list of things to pick from. I have a mood reader tendency to come in here and just like stare at these big shelves and be like, I have no idea what I'm going to read. So being able to create a narrowed list, regardless of whether I totally stick to it or even finish the list, having that list helps me narrow down what I'm actually going to read, and I read a little bit more if I do that. So we're going to be doing that today, and I'm going to be playing my TBR game, TBR Betrayal, to pick some of the books. So I'm really excited about that. The other thing that we're going to be doing is there are a couple of reading challenges that I want to participate in next year. I think you'll be seeing this prior to the beginning of 2023, so in 2023. There's TBR Knockout, which was created by Completely Melanie, and Buzzwordathon, which was created by Books and Lala. I started both of their challenges last year, and I managed to fail both of them when the summer came around and I was in a bit of a slump, so I didn't really read anything, and then I kind of gave up on the challenges after that. But I do want to try and participate in the 2023 challenges, so I'm going to be picking some books for that. Hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff onto my TBR Betrayal list, which will allow me to read those without having to add like a bunch of additional stuff, but we will see what happens. So, first things first, I do want to say there are a couple of rule changes for TBR Betrayal. Just two small things. The first one is that in the original version of the game, I was using dice from Betrayal at Thousand Hill, which you can roll a 0 through 2, and that meant that the furthest I could move in any move was 4 tiles in the house. So I'm going to be using a 4-sided die this time. I briefly swapped to a 6-sided die so that I didn't have to worry about losing the dice from my original game, but I really like the amount of movement that a 4-sided die gives, and I think we ended up with more variety when I was only moving up to 4 spaces, just because of the way I've spaced things on the board. It's random, but I felt like we were missing a lot of the item and omen points and getting a lot of prompts, so we're going to be using a 4-sided die this year. That's the first change. The second change is that when I draw omens, I'm going to allow myself to redraw once per month. However, I have to add an extra book to my TBR to do that. This is because I want to encourage myself to read whatever comes out of the Omen Cup, but there are going to be times when I pick something like a really dense nonfiction or something that's really, really long that I just know I'm not going to be able to get to or I'm really not in the mood for, and I want to be able to have a little bit of flexibility for myself, so this will allow me to redraw something, but also encourage me to read whatever comes out of the cup. So that's the plan for that. I'll be able to redraw once, but I have to add an extra book to whatever my TBR would be. So that is the plan, and I think without any further ado, let's go ahead and find out what the board is going to give me for January. So first things first, let's find out which character we're going to be playing from our list here, and the knowledge stat will be the number of books I need on my TBR. So we got number 8. I don't know if that's going to be visible. We got number 8, and that is Hercule Poirot, and his knowledge stat is 5, so I'll need to have 5 books on my TBR. Alright, moving forward, I'm trying to figure out where the edge of the camera is. There we go, that's better. Since it's the start of a new year, we're going to start at the entrance of the house once again, and I don't remember which direction we went last time, so I'm just going to pick a random direction to go. But let's go ahead and roll for book number 1 of 2023. We got a 3 up here at the top. So which way do I want to go? I think let's go up. So 1, 2, 3. Got an item. And this is that the title needs to start with a randomly generated letter. So let's generate that letter, and this will be a modifier that applies to whichever prompt I get next. So okay, got a random letter generator here, so let's find out what we're gonna get. Okay, let's just, doesn't matter. We got U, so the title needs to start with the letter U. Alright, that's gonna be interesting to try and fulfill. So roll number 2 for book number 1. We got a 3 again. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Cat pick. So I'm gonna need to pull 3 books with the letter U in the first, as the first letter in the title, and then get my cat to pick one. That's gonna be fun. Okay. Okay, Elwood is right here, so let's see if he's in the mood to help us today. So I'm gonna put 3 books in front of him. Hello, sir. I need your finest opinions. He's confused. He's like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to me, sir? I need your finest opinions, little cat man. Let me put a little incentive on each book. He likes things that he can bat around. So let's see if we can get him to smack one. Are you not in the mood to help? Is it a good nap? Okay, I don't think he's in the mood. Let's go see if Pumpkin will pick one. Okay, we found Pumpkin. Let's see what his book opinions are. He's confused. He's like, why are you putting things in front of me? Let's see if I put a dice on each book. Will you pick one? That one. It's gonna have to. There we go. Sir, pick a book. He's considering. I gotta do a sniff one or touch one. That's all you gotta do, bud. He's like, why are you disturbing my nap for this nonsense? Hi. Hi. I offer you scritches. So will you pick a book for me? He's gonna go for Uncomfortable Sun with its escapee dice. Let me try pushing all the dice closer. Oh, he's chosen Undead Souths. That's my boy. Thank you, honey. You good kitty. The first thing that we got was a cat pick that started with the letter U. I had very limited options of things I could give the cats to pick from. But ultimately, Pumpkin chose Undead Souths, which is an essay collection about Southern Gothic literature and about the idea of Southern Gothic as a category. And I'm really interested in reading this. I just took a class that borrowed its name from this particular essay collection and was talking about some of the ideas from this collection. But I never got a chance to actually read this because it was just a very hectic semester. It was my first semester as a grad student. I was taking a full course load and I really wasn't sure what kind of like workload to expect for that. So it ended up being a little more chaotic and I just didn't get to this one. But I am really looking forward to reading it, and I think this will be a good pick for January because it's something that I can like read an essay here and there and fit it in between some other things. Rolling for book number 2. We got a 2 at the top. So let's see. Keep losing my direction. 1, 2. So we got our first Omen of 2023. Got to the Fighty Cat Mug of Destiny. Let's see what it gives me. Trying to like dig down and try to not drop everything. Got Finley Donovan is killing it. Alright, we can do that. I was originally planning to read that in December, but I don't think I'm going to get to it, so I think this should work out well. Next we got an Omen, which was Finley Donovan is Killing It by El Casamano. This is a cozy mystery about a woman who is mistaken for a hit woman while she's speaking to her literary agent in a cafe. And so someone approaches her, asks her to kill someone. And I've heard so many good things about this book. I originally was not going to read this, but I've just heard so many good reviews. And so many people have said things about it that have made me think, well, maybe it's really fun. Maybe I'll really like it. Rolling for book number 3. Oh, wait. Real quick before we move on, let's do our hunt roll. I can't actually roll lower than a 1 here, so we're going to be fine regardless. But we got a 10. Rolling for book number 3. We have gotten a 3 yet again. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. So we got a challenge. Let me roll real quick to find out which challenge we're gonna get. I used to have these as cards and it didn't work very well, so we're gonna have challenge number 2. So challenge number 2 is Necronomicon. A mysterious book appears in your path. You pick it up and open it. Strange symbols cover the pages, and soon you realize you can't look away. As darkness clouds your vision, attempt a sanity roll of 4+ to save yourself from madness. If you succeed, the book grants you a vision. Peek at the next prompt and move it to the bottom of the stack if you don't like it. If you fail, draw an item. Okay, so we have to do a sanity roll of 4+, and Poirot's sanity is, as soon as I find it, number 8. Poirot's sanity is 3. So he could, in the original mechanics of Betrayal at the House on the Hill, he could roll up to a 6. So we're gonna roll a 6-sided die for this. And what do we need to beat? So we need to get 4 or higher to succeed. And we got a 6. So we succeed. And I get to look at the top prompt. And if I don't like it, I get to move it to the bottom. Okay, we're gonna put that one on the bottom. If you were curious, it is most recent purchase. Continuing ahead for book number 3, we got a 1. So that's gonna be an item. Great. So we got least anticipated, so it has to be a book that I'm not excited about. Need to like create a spot for the prompts. Let's do this. There we go. Right. One more roll for book number 3, hopefully. Let's see if we get a prompt. We got a 3 again. So this is gonna be 1, 2, 3. So we are actually getting a prompt. Let's see what we get. Oh, okay. So it needs to be a book that was written by an author from outside of the US. So any other country is fine. So least anticipated book written by an author from outside the US. Then we got a book that was one of my least anticipated and written by an author from outside the US. And for this one, I've chosen A Strange and Stubborn Endurance by Foz Meadows, who is an Australian author. So this book is a fantasy romance, and a friend of mine read it recently and she hated it. And she's never been wrong if she's thought, like, I'm gonna like or dislike a book. If she tells me, you're gonna like this or you're not gonna like this, she's never been wrong so far. And she really didn't like this book. So I know she wants me to read it so that we can talk about it and compare our opinions. But based on her dislike of the book, I'm much less excited to read it than I was before. So that's why I've chosen this for least anticipated. Rolling for book number 4 now. We got, woo! Well, before I dropped it, it was a 3. So we're gonna go with 3. 1, 2, 3, another item card. Needs to be under 300 pages. And this is a 3 again. This is landing on 3 a lot. Okay. 1, 2, 3. So that's gonna be an Omen. Something from the bottom here. So we got The Man in the Iron Mask. And I am gonna re-roll this one, so I'm gonna have to add another book to my TBR. This would be book number 4. This is technically like the 6th book in the Three Musketeers series. I think it's like the 6th book. Anyway, I'm gonna re-roll that one, or redraw that one, because I really don't want to read that right now. I want to read the Three Musketeers first. Okay. Here we go this time. So book number 4 is officially going to be, oh, it actually works nicely. So we got The Hungry Earth by Nicholas Kaufman, which I do want to read. So it's gonna be book number 4. He needs to be a baby cat every once in a while. So he shall sit here with me while I film. So the next thing we got was another Omen. This was The Hungry Earth by Nicholas Kaufman. This is a medical thriller or science thriller about a medical examiner in small town New York who, upon discovering the body, I think she doesn't discover the body, but someone discovers the body of a person in their community who began behaving strangely. I know you're trying to get stuff off the shelf. I can feel you, you silly little guy. Someone in their community starts behaving strangely and then turns up dead. And upon examining the body, she discovers something kind of creepy and horrifying, probably fungus related based on this cover. And she has to race against the clock to prevent other people from the community from dying. Pumpkin. He likes to be held like a baby. Alright, rolling for book number 5 of now 6. We got yet another 3. I don't know what's up with this one. 1, 2, 3. So we get a prompt to go with our item. Title starts with V or A, and it needs to be under 300 pages. So then after that, we got a book where the title starts with V or A, and it needed to be under 300 pages. So for this, I have chosen The Jade Setter of John Loon, which is a standalone novella that goes along with Fonda Lee's Greenbone saga. This one, I think, is a prequel. It's set before the first book, but it follows a jade setter who gets involved in trying to solve a theft. So now, rolling for book number 6. We got 3 again. What the hell? Okay. Well, 1, 2, 3. We have an omen, and I just realized I forgot to do a haunt roll. So we're going to pull this omen, and then we're going to do 2 haunt rolls and see if I need to add any books. This actually worked totally in my favor. So this last book is My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. And then the next thing we got, the 6th book, which I added because I redrew an omen. We got My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, which is a slasher about a girl who is a horror fan, and she's kind of an outcast in her community, but she begins to believe that she might be living through a horror movie. And I've heard a lot of good reviews of this one as well. I've heard more mixed reviews on this one, but I feel like that's mostly people either get along with his writing or don't, and I personally really love Stephen Graham Jones' writing, so I'm really excited to get to this one. So, I forgot to do a haunt roll. I'm going to put that guy back in there now. And so, I'm going to do a haunt roll for 2 omens, and then I'm going to do a haunt roll for 3 omens. So for 2, I need to not roll under a 2. We're good. That is a 12. Don't know how visible that is, but it's a 12. And now for the 3rd omen, if I don't roll under a 3. And of course, we got a 1, because of course we did. So that means I do have to add 1 more book to my TBR. We're going to mix up the Boy's Degenerate Demands and see what we can get. Okay, we're going to take this one off the top. We got Rickroll. I do not remember what the prompt for this one is, but we'll figure it out in a minute. The next thing we got was the Boy's Degenerate Demand card because I started the hunt. And this one was Rickroll, which is to reread a favorite book. And so I'm going to be rereading Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I read this a few years ago, around Christmas time actually, and I really loved it. I devoured it in one day. It's a really interesting story about a community where a murder happens and everybody knew it was happening, but nobody stopped it. And so there's this guy that goes back to the city to try and figure out why that happened. And I just remember this is a really intense and interesting book that's examining not just the murder, but the community that allowed it to happen. So I thought it was really fun. And I'm also going to be using this for Buzzwordathon because the buzzword for January is word life or death in the title. And this has, obviously, death in the title. So those were all of my books for TBR Betrayal. I do have one more thing to add, which is that I need 1 more book for TBR Knockout, and I wanted to read something off of my 12 books in 12 months challenge. So I have something that works for both. So the other TBR Knockout prompt was to read a book with a mostly white cover. He didn't go very far. He's laying in the hallway, just sprawled out looking at me look how cute I am. He's alright. I gotta clean my arm probably, but we're okay. To finish what I was saying, I needed a book for TBR knockouts, a book with a mostly white cover, and I've chosen The Wicked and the Divine, The Faust Act, because this is also on my 12 books in 12 months challenge. Hard to speak today for some reason. Anyway, the cover is mostly white. I don't know much about this. I think it's about gods reincarnating as people, but that's all I've got, and that's what I'm gonna read. So real quick, before I go clean my cat wounds, all of these, with my Kindle on the bottom here, are the books that I'm going to be reading for January. This is my TBR, and I'm really pleased about this stack. I'm pretty excited about most of these, or they're ones I just like really need to get to now. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out, and I'm looking forward to reading these in January. Down in the comments, let me know what you're planning to read in January. I'd love to know what your plans are, and I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.